Now let's go and set up the post route where we can submit the form to. So I'll do that just below this, and that's going to be app.post, and the URL is /campgrounds /ID again /comments, and that's it. And we'll add in our request and response callback. And in here, we need to do a few things. We need to look up campground using ID. Then we need to create new comment. Then we want to connect new comment to campground. And then lastly, we want to redirect somewhere. And it would make sense to redirect back to the show page of the campground that we're already on. So we'll redirect to campground show page. Just like that. Okay, let's begin by looking up the campground using the ID. And remember, that's inside of request.params.id. So we'll do a campground.findById, just like we did up here. Request params ID, and then our callback function with the error and the campground. And then we need this here, and then our closing parenthesis. And then in here, what's it complaining about? We're not using the error, so we'll handle the error, console.log, err. Otherwise, then we're going to move on and do all of this code. And if we can't find the campground that they're adding a comment to, then we have a problem. So we won't do any of this. What we could do instead is just redirect back to /campgrounds, which is pretty obnoxious from a user's point of view, but at least the app won't stall. We're going to redirect somewhere. Eventually, we'll be showing an error message explaining the problem. Okay, so redirect, and that needs to be res.redirect. And then inside the else, we're now going to create the new comment. So that's done with comment.create. But before we do that, I'm going to comment it out. And I want to show you what I was talking about when I introduced this new way of adding the name attribute, where we join things or we group them together under the name comment. So we'll go back in here, and let's just do a console.log request.body.comment and save, restart the server. And we'll go visit /campgrounds, click on one of them, and then go to /comments/new, and then we'll submit a comment. This will be ho 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 from Santa, just like that. Click submit, and this request isn't going to actually end up with us seeing anything. It's going to time out eventually because we haven't handled it properly. We're not redirecting. We're only redirecting if we can't find the campground. Otherwise, we're not doing anything. But more importantly, if we look at what request.body.comment is, you can see it's this pre-made object that has everything we need to make a new comment. So we don't have to sit here and do var text equals request.body.text and then var author and so on. We can just use request.body.comment. So we'll now create comment.create. And instead of passing in that object, we just pass in request.body.comment, which has those two pieces already in there. And then our callback. And we'll have our error and then our comment. Okay, and then as always, we're going to check if there's an error. And we'll just do a simple console.log again. And if it's all good, then what we need to do is associate the comment to the campground. And all we have to do to make that work is do campground, which is this variable here. It's referring to the campground that we found with this ID in the URL, dot comments, dot push, comment, which is the comment that just came back from the database that we created. And then we need to do a campgrounds.save or campground.save, just like that. And then we'll redirect. So we'll do a res.redirect to the show page of the campground. And that show page again is going to look like /campgrounds/ID. So we need to build that string. It's a res.redirect/campgrounds, but we need to put the ID in there. So /+ and it's going to be campground._ID, just like that. Okay, so we're almost there. This will hopefully redirect us to the right route so we can see the comment that was created. But we have a problem, which is that comment is not defined. And that's because this is the first time we're actually using comment inside this app, inside the app.js. Even though we are already accessing comments, we never had to use the comment model because we were accessing comments off of the campground model automatically in the template. What we need to do is require comment up here, and that's equal to require ./models/comment, and save, add the comma in, and now we should be good to go. Let's restart. No syntax errors, always a good sign. We need to go back. Here's the timeout that I got when I never sent a response. I never redirected, I never rendered anything. Poor Cloud9 sent back their own message that just said something went wrong. Okay, /campgrounds. Now we'll click on one. Now we'll go to /comments/new. Here's our comment form, and we'll do expecto patronum, and that's from Harry Potter. Submit, and what do you know? We have a second comment added down here. The very last thing we'll do is add a simple button that will take us to the new comment page. Rather than having to type that really long link in manually, we'll just add a button. And that's on the show template, and we'll just do it right before the comments, and we'll just make that an anchor tag inside of a paragraph so that it's spaced a little bit more. So paragraph tag, and then we want an anchor tag with href equal to /campgrounds, and then we need the ID, and that ID is campground.id. So I'm just going to steal this and put it right in there and change it to be ._ID /comments. That needs to go in the quotes /comments/new. And then the text of the link should just be add new comment. And we'll make it a bootstrap button. So class is equal to, and let's do btn success, which will make it green. All right, let's test this out. Start the server over again. Let's go back to campgrounds, click on one of these. We have add new comment. Let's try adding just a gibberish comment. Submit. There we go. So we have that functionality down. And let's just verify that it works on other comments as well. So let's go back to the campgrounds and add one to Canyon Floor. And this is gibberish again, and it works. Great. And as you know by now, I like to end by doing a quick recap, and we have a lot to recap here, but I'll do my best to do it in 30-ish seconds. So we started by talking about nested routes, where we have campgrounds/ID and then comments, and the routes for comments are added after that because a comment is dependent on a campground in its particular ID. So we set those two routes up. We moved our templates. So now we have a campgrounds directory and a comments directory. We had to change some of the linking, especially linking to the partials. And then the bulk of what we did was down here in our routes. So we created the new and create comment routes. Both of them, we have to look up the correct campground first. Once we look up the campground on new, all we do is render the form. But once we look up the campground on create, what we actually had to do was then create the comment and then push that comment into the campground and save, and then we redirected back to the campground show page. So a lot of changes, lots of new stuff. If you want to go back and compare, V3 is the most recent version that doesn't have any of this new material. And the last important thing we have left to do around comments is just adding some styling so that the show page looks a little bit nicer than it currently does, and that the comments look a little better as well.